damage got reduced quite significantly. It was like -5 each rank, and it only was 10 at rank 1, so basically halved. And also, her right click no longer does like execute damage when you're low, and it was a heavy hit. We have seen her like freed up a bit more, but still being banned quite frequently. So LNG take that, and RA are going to answer with Lucian Nami. Now you have a choice here. You can either take the Nami here, which I think is a better choice, or some teams leave it to 3 if they want to prioritize something, but that means your third pick is so locked in that you have no flexibility. So I like that they grab it here, and now LNG to respond.
Yeah, we will say, though, for LNG and specifically for Light, we have seen Light play the Zeri twice. Of course, these are pre-nerfs Zeri, so kind of broken in any sense. But the first time we played it went 9-0 and 6, and that was up against, I believe, LGD. And then the second time, we actually just played it recently against Team WE. So he's kind of going through the lower end of the standings with this particular pick, kind of working very favorably for him. But as you mentioned, the Lucian Nami, very powerful first item spike, and a Jayce locked in for Cube.
I mean, this just feels like RA are like win lane, win game, and LNG are like, look, if you guys flub again, we will take over, right? If you let this game go 30-40 minutes, we will just take over. Very much feels like the identity coming out. And now I cannot emphasize how important it is that you don't let Leyan get something like the Pantheon again, because if you give him a strong early jungler combined with these strong lanes, you don't get room to breathe. And we do see the rise, by the way, from RA, so trimming down Doinb's champion pool. And LNG, the Pantheon was so effective last time, I think you have to ban it.
Yeah, there it is. You're going to have to take that into consideration. And there is still plenty of junglers that can do, but not as immediately, not as effectively. And also just straight up with the I suppose, the semi-global liberty of being able to kind of be wherever you are on the map and have an effect on a different lane. It's why we're seeing Talia come back. Honestly, it's why we're also seeing things like Ryze and Galio also come back into the lane. It's almost like globals are important.
It's like Nocturne with a stronger early gank. Obviously, you know, Nocturne has his own strengths, and he's a bit better at like executing people when he like dives in with his ultimate, but still it's like suffocating. The starter comes out as a ban away from Doinb, and then LNG take out the Blanc. Makes sense. And you see the Lysandra trim. Now, already have a choice. They can take a jungler here and take something that they think is left open available that's high prio. But alternative like Ahri seems pretty good here, right? A lot of her counter picks actually taken off the field. So basically depends what they want to look for here and now. And if there's something that they think is worth taking, they go for the Trundle, interestingly enough. So obviously ulting the Gwen has a lot of value because you get so much resist in a Shroud. The Pillar can also be quite annoying for the Zeri with the slow, but kind of surprised to see that come out as a priority. Yeah,
and honestly, you talked about, you know, win lane, win game. Someone who has an exceptionally powerful early game is going to be that Trundle. Very good at skirmishing and very good at setting up the rest of his lanes. If you get a pillar down on that bot side against a Zeri Yuumi, you're either going to have to flash or you're going to have to hope and pray that you don't die or they mess up the combination. So we'll see the Sejuani being locked in here. So that's going to be a Sejuani jungle, Gwen in the top lane and Renekton mid?
It could be, or it could be Gwen in the jungle and Sejuani top. So one of the things is that in the European regional leagues, we actually saw a lot of Gwen jungle back when Gwen was joking. We never really saw it in the LPL, but it is playable in the jungle. It is a bit weaker since the nerf, so I'm not sure I would want to see it there, but it is still playable in essence. But it probably would be, you know, this Gwen top, Sejuani jungle, and Renekton mid. And RA go for the Sylas. Quite a fantastic selection of ults to steal, I would say. Even the ult from Renekton, the base damage is actually really high, the burn. But this is going to be a hard matchup for Sylas to survive. It's going to be a hard matchup for a Jayce to survive if they can get on top of him. But it's like you picked Sejuani into Trundle, which I think Trundle's vibing with, if I'm going to be honest.
I was going to say the Sejuani in the jungle means that look, I love Tarzan. Sejuani has been something that he has leaned into, even in this split alone, he has gone towards, but it is something that can just be very, very easily abused, and I just feel like right now all the cards are going to be on RA's side. It feels like if they are able to execute on their early game, we will see just a repeat of game one, because this Lucian Nami combination are going to have such great presence. The Jayce should be able to do so much more as well. This is going to be an interesting one for sure. But like you said, if we do get to the late game, the Zeri will take over. The Yuumi combination is just so damn good. And honestly, I think it is going to come down to the first 15-20 minutes. If LNG find themselves only about 1,000 gold behind, maybe a dragon apiece, they're in happy standings.
I mean, honestly, I kind of even like what LNG have brought here, because if they already have a weak top side, right? Like the Gwen into Jayce is a bad matchup. We originally saw Jayce picked up as like a counter to Gwen back in spring when she was broken. Bot lane is going to be a rough time as well. So you needed a strong mid jungle. And this is a strong mid jungle. In the skirmishes, you have like super strong layered CC because Renekton fully stacks Sejuani E and she can stun out of it. You have a lot of damage and you have a lot of bulkiness. And ultimately, if RA fall behind, the poke from Jayce isn't going to stick because you have the sustain for the Yuumi and everyone's so bulky. And Lucian is not the best tank killer, right? And you have 3 super tanky champions with a Yuumi making them even tankier. So I actually kind of think what LNG brought out here is pretty cool. But it does come down to execution. If either team finds momentum, it will make all the difference. And for LNG, it's momentum around this mid jungle. For RA, momentum around this bot lane and potentially top.
We'll have to wait and see. We are jumping straight onto the riff for game number 2. RA 1-0 up in the series. Something we did not expect to be saying, but they played absolutely exceptionally in game 1, and we'll see if they're able to continue that momentum into game 2. And this is the beauty of the LPL, my friend. The fact that we have got a best of 3. It could have just been a best of 1. Game over, you lose. But no, you get a second chance. You get a lifeline to make something happen. As we see, Doinb maybe baiting this one a little bit because they actually don't know where anyone is. The abscond abduct does not hit. The exhaust goes down.
Oh my god, give that man an Oscar.
Really good bait coming in. That was an actual bait coming out from Doinb.
He's just walking up like, oh no, I'm a little crocodile, don't hurt me. Whole team's waiting. And you saw the layering of the CC, the stun from Doinb into the stun from Tarzan, instantly fully stacks it. And then obviously, like, there's no escape. You're locked down for such a long time. I think it goes without saying, but RA need to invest in some Merc treads quick. And they get that first kill, punishing RA, who are looking for the invade.
Yeah, I will say you did lose a lot of summoners on LNG in the first blood, not as impactful as it used to be, but really nice read there by LNG to say, look, we know who you are, what you're trying to do. It's just not quite able to work out for yourself there. And like you said, give that man Doinb in the mid lane an Oscar. That was absolutely fantastic acting. And we'll see now, Leyan, though, maybe looking to try and make something happen on the Doinb strife. Oh, Lord. Oh,
yeah,
Lord.
I don't think they would have got it anyway. But
flash,
that
though.
definitely didn't help. Yeah, no flash, but I think he was a bit too close to turret. I think he could have just walked it out. But regardless, Leyan could actually capitalize with the pressure he has in mid lane and top. This is kind of thing, right? Doinb burns both his summoners, and also Renekton is not really... His strength is level 3. Level 1 and level 2 is a bit weaker. But also, like, the pressure that they have top is allowing him to go for this heavy invade.
Yeah, you can see now on the bot side, iBoy and Zora trying to make it as difficult as possible for this Yuumi to take over with the Zeri, but as you can see there, the sustain is just a little bit nutty. And though Tarzan, he's actually calling out the bluff right now and saying, look, we haven't seen the Trundle on the Raptors just yet. That means he hasn't probably taken his top side, which means he's probably, hasn't taken his bottom side. He's probably invading me. I don't want to fight him right now, so I'm just going to take away a blue, so he shall lose nothing, despite probably, honestly, a pretty creative pathing coming out from Leyan.
Yeah, I just feel like Tarzan is such a good player for having these reads, and really it's very hard to pull the wool over his eyes. So despite the fact, you know, he's playing the Sejuani, a big...
Well, they're going to make it work, and they do make it work. Strife will pick up that kill. Both of us feeling a little bit like they were hard forcing that one, but they do end up getting the kill, and Doinb will be going back to the gray screen. No teleport either.
Yeah, they found a good window because Doinb just used his dash, and with that being on cooldown, couldn't escape as quick as he wanted. And that's the early damage from the Trundle coming in. Definitely was a bit sketchy, especially when Strive got stuck in the minions. Fortunately, he didn't actually have tower aggro straight away. But yeah, I was a little bit concerned, but a nice early gank. We talked about the strength of this mid-jungle. RA getting an early kill into Doinb definitely helps to mitigate. And Tarzan will even check to make sure his wolves are clear, so it will get back on the respawn timer. And yeah, so jungle matchup, fairly even at the moment, but obviously getting that kill mid, really helpful for RA.
Oh, for sure. I think that kill definitely brings this game back up into an even state. I love the idea, though, from the two different mid laners. You got the Vampiric Scepter coming out here for Doinb, the Ionian Boots of Lucidity for Strife, both recognizing where their strengths lie and what they need in order to survive this lane. But iBoy now been left alone a little bit, as you can see on the mini-map. Zora going on a little bit of a roam. He's actually got the electrocute here onto the Nami, so looking to try and go for that burst combination. It is common to see that, but I always like to see the fact that, you know, they're not going for a Comet or Airy or anything like that, you know, kind of to help with sustain. They're always looking to try and be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah, it's about playing around those burst windows, and we often see, like, Nami's not buying boots early, even going Treasure Hunter as the rune, just so they can get Imperial Mandate as soon as possible. Or they have Ignite. They could go for a dive here. They execute. There's a lot of burst, a lot of lockdown. Let's see if they can make this happen. You can see them trying to push the wave in, but Strive doing a good job of clearing it. And I think that might be, yeah, that might be too much.
Yeah, Leyan is here now, and he will spot out that the Sejuani is there. So trying to see if they can take away the wolves, but not to be done. Tarzan, though, is wrapping around. Leyan does not have flash, remember. We'll take away the small little wolves and let the big one reset. But gonna have the slow resist taken away. Strive looking to try and make something happen here as Leyan does walk straight in. He will be stunned up for an absolute eternity, and he's dead. I don't know what you expected to happen there, Leyan. You don't have a 2v2 that can face that.
Yeah, that is the strength of the mid jungle 2v2. That was the reason why they went for this combo. And yeah, he just gets absolutely obliterated. More kills than the Renekton. You know, when you're playing the Renekton, you want to snowball, and he will be going this build that we've seen recently, which is like the Blade Rune King into Sunfire. We sometimes see Zora?
Zora, he did not know that someone was there, and as the blast cone goes over, he has to flash back.
Yeah. That's all I can say on that subject. But yeah, I was talking about the Renekton. That Blade Rune King Sunfire build that we've seen, and we talked about this a bit earlier. The Sunfire base damage has been nerfed, and the bonus health is being increased. One of the cool things with Renekton is your ult gives you bonus health. So the nerf didn't actually hit him as hard, because when you pop your Dominus, you're getting that extra health. And also, it synergizes super well because you get the AoE damage burn from Dominus. You get the AoE damage from the Sunfire as well. They also even gave the burn damage on Renekton an AD ratio. So it's actually pretty nasty.
They're going to see if they can maybe go for a 2v2, but it's not a 2v2. It's a 3v2 as Tarzan's waiting off in the wings. They know that Leyan's not here, and Zora walks forward confidently saying, look, we're going to try and make sure we get the combination of this. But now Tarzan going to look to try and get a good bubble, though, onto the Zeri, but the Yuumi is not affected, and the Yuumi will pick up the kill, and that's just really good play coming out from LNG. Much better start here in game 2.
I love this is just punishing the fact that Zora baited that flash earlier. That's why they went for that play and why it worked, because Zora just baited a summon and they capitalize on that, look to push it in. Also want to note that Light and Luma have been flourishing in this lane so far. The Lucian Nami has burst, but they aren't finding windows to kill the LNG bot lane, and ultimately the Yuumi just means they out-sustain.
Yeah, they haven't reset either yet, so it was a Doran's Blade and a long sword right there. As you can see there, they're just kind of keeping the constant. Nice pro view here of Tarzan. It kind of says, look, we know where they are, and we can just kind of go for the move. The exhaust is down, he's going to be slowed.
Yep, and as soon as he connects the Q on, it's just like, yeah, that's it. That's it, done. So nice execution. And we are approaching the time when Herald comes up, so that is probably going to be a bit of a priority. You can even see Lumao's actually attached to Tarzan, so they're making their way not necessarily over towards the top side of the map, but that should be the main priority. Dragon still a bit too tanky to take early.
Yeah, still a bit too tanky, but you do have the Rift Herald, which is definitely an option available to you. I will say that the Cube is having... The Cube. It's like that show on ITV, but it's probably from literally about 2% of our audience will know exactly what I'm talking about there. But yeah, we'll see now LNG trying to move up towards that top side. Cube does get a reset in and has got the Merc Treads. Like you said, looking to try and invest in those early because those CC locks are going to be pretty damn big as Strife might be a little bit careful. They do have Leyan, though, with the Subjugate off the side. Tarzan, unfortunately for him, does not have the ultimates. That's a big tool not available here for LNG, and honestly, it feels like they're going to have to try and give up this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I think just the fact that Leyan has that makes such a big difference. It's so effective against the Sejuani as well, particularly when you have Aftershock and your passive gives you extra resist. So like if you press ult when those are up and available, then you steal the stats based on that level. So once they drop, once Aftershock goes off, once your passive drops, you're still stealing away a percentage of the original resistances, which means you just become paper. Now LNG actually like this decision, so they don't opt to go over even though Tarzan hits level 6, but they move to the bot side. They'll steal some camps, and look how many plates Light is getting now. And it's harder to make these trades now because they gave 200 local gold to the Herald, but you're still able to get a lot of money onto your 80 carry. That's 480 gold worth of plates onto Light. I'm not sure if you picked them all up then, but regardless, he's in a very good spot.
Yeah, feeling very confident. Tarzan saying, look, maybe they're going to try and re-push this on the bot side so we can sneak ourselves down. Doesn't have flash this time around, but still has the ultimate, so going to be all on Zora. He doesn't have level 6 yet, though, either, so you're going to have a Yuumi with the final chapter, but no tidal wave available for Zora for disengage.
And honestly, Tarzan just needs to Q in the ult
Oh, he
Oh,
tries
doesn't find the angle.
to curve the bullet, but it might be good enough anyway because they're
Doesn't
able to
matter.
catch. Yeah, doesn't matter when you've got yourself the final chapter, and that's what I was talking about. You don't have the tidal wave for Zora. He didn't have flash again from the earlier exchange, so he's still going to go down.
And you got to think, right? So Zora didn't see Tarzan when he was trying to like clear wards and took the blast cone, right? And lost his flash. And since then, he's died twice, specifically as a result. I'm not sure if we'd see nearly as much bot pressure if he'd still...
Whoa, Strife! Just gets deleted.
He just one-shot him.
And then we're going to see Leyan maybe have the subjugate available to him. He does have Zora, though, in the back pocket, so enough to keep the rest of LNG at bay. But that's the power of the Renekton, and this is why we're seeing this pick kind of creep back up into the meta. If any region is going to play Renekton, it's going to be LPL.
Bro, that's not balanced. I swear to God. Just walks up and says, yeah, you're dead. Like, I mean, fair enough, he has the Blade of the Rune King. That's a pretty big spike. But I want to watch this. So he has his Fury ready, obviously. Pops the ult halfway through after the stun. Obviously, procs Blade of the Rune King. Wow. And then, yeah, just decimates him. I don't know, man. I mean, he was ahead, right? He was ahead in gold. He has got that first item. There's a lot of reasons why that happened, but even so, that kind of caught me off guard. Yeah. But this crocodile's getting scary.
Yeah, he's definitely showing a lot more teeth than tears as LNG start to get themselves a bit of a gold lead. It's not even 2,000 just yet because you have some decent local scaling here available from the Rift Herald as such, but we will see some decent trade here for Cube. Actually, he goes full in on top of Panda C. Panda C doesn't really land that much, to be perfectly honest, and Cube is going to have to try and get out of this lane because honestly, I've seen this in a couple of different places. I've seen it in LEC, I've seen it in LCK, where the Jayce has a fine laning phase, but what you do with that is the important thing. If you're just kind of scaling into the side lane, the Gwen's happy to do that. The Gwen's happy to just kind of get those 2-3 items and then look to try and team fight where you're just not as relevant.
I mean, he's got to play for the poke, right? When you get the item spikes, you lean into that. But obviously into, 3 tanks and a Yuumi, not the most effective. Like, if you hit a Shock Blast onto Tarzan and then Lumao presses E, that's it done. Like, they've just mitigated everything you've done. Now, you see RA leaning up towards his top side with the Herald, wanting to inject gold into Cube, and the response from LNG will be pressuring this mid-tier one, getting some plates. Strive isn't it? After what happened just a second ago, I would be so scared of walking up to that Renekton.
Yeah, and look, you get the Rift Herald down. Yes, you get 160 gold each, so 320, but you don't get the tower. And that's the big thing we always say about the Rift Herald. It's not about getting it, it's about how you use it afterwards. It can be an exceptionally powerful tool, but if you're not given the opportunity, you're just going to have to use it and hope for the best, because right now it's just not really working out. I will say, though, RA, with the push in bot, with the push in top, they are starting to feel a bit more comfortable about maybe taking around this dragon, and Divine Sunderer has been finished up as well for Leyan, so he's at a decent power spike himself.
Yeah, definitely a nice spike and pretty effective into things like the Sejuani. But you got to think, just going back to the Herald point, it's the cost. Like, you obtain that Herald by sacrificing plates bot, so to not get a full tower does hurt a bit. And I just feel like this mid lane is such a pocket of pressure. Like, if Doinb finds a window, Strive just dies, and it's really hard to contest mid prior because of that. Now, RA moving into the Dragon area early. I don't think they found Doinb. I think he's found them. Yeah,
well, you never know right now because he's taking a lot of harassment. They're going to try and jump onto Zora. Zora flashes away, but Tarzan follows him. Now Leyan comes in alongside Lumao, who's got himself his second kill. This Yuumi is just too damn strong. And yeah, you thought they were catching out Doinb, but Doinb catches out them.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't have the damage to burst him. He got some healing off with his Q, and the rest of LNG were all moving over. They were kind of trying to deal with the issue in the mid lane, the problem that is this Renekton, and they just made things worse. Now, Dragon going to be picked up for LNG, and this mountain, oh man, this is such a good mountain gate. Not this, like, obviously it's not the soul as the first dragon, but just like one mountain dragon, 9% armor and MR, and your Sejuani, your Gwen, your Renekton, super valuable. Now, we'll get the replay. They do lock him down quite well and get a decent amount of damage into him, but he manages to get this powered Q off that just heals him so much. And then dash away, nearly kills Zora, but Zora goes down in the flash, and then Light sliding over the wall with the W was really well executed from them.
And again, like, yes, I like the idea of the play, but iBoy was bot lane farming. iBoy is your power spike right now, and he's just not really joining the team. He's kind of just been AFK farming for the last while, and I don't blame him for doing that, but it's just not going to work out for you. As you can see RA now trying to see if they can catch out Panda C. Azora does jump in here with Q, but they really just can't get this tower right now, and there's going to be the needlework to just take away the minion wave.
Yeah.
If he hit it.
Yeah, went to the cube there instead. I think thinking, oh, we're going to get backup soon. I should do damage to the champions. Probably should just clear the wave. Regardless, tower picked up by RA. It could answer, but now I think Cube's dead.
Yeah, Cube recognizing it. That being said, though, he does flash away. Keep himself
Maybe
alive,
not.
Leyan. Nope, not quite dead just yet. But with the amount of resources you've now put into the top side, it's going to force the TP into bot lane from Panda C, because Strive was pushing that one in. And again, I do kind of say this with a little bit of a meme in it as well. You do have got iBoy, who should be kind of linking in with his team to try and help them out. He's just kind of AFK farming, and now the Renekton has a Chemtech Chainsword, so he is huge in this mid lane.
Wait, and Zora went Chemtech Putrefier on the Nami.
First item.
I really don't like this first item. I feel like the whole reason Lucian Nami is strong is because you rush Imperial Mandate and the damage is absurd, right? Like, don't get me wrong, LNG clearly have a lot of healing, but I just feel like I've said this multiple times, it's not just the AD carry spike. Like, with this lane, it's about the support item too. And the fact that you're not, like, I'm gonna be real, it takes so long, the gold econ is so low for supports, we might never see the Imperial Mandate before the game's over.
Yeah, Strive does flash away, does steal away the Sejuani ultimate, so Tarzan needs to respect that, but good moves out from LNG. Much better in game number 2 than they were in game number 1. They are only about 4,000 gold ahead, but it is still very significant. Cube isn't quite able to kill off Panda C, and Panda C should be able to reset, get himself his Riftmaker, and Shelly gets dropped to top side, so you're just kind of winning across the map as Leyan. Doinb almost takes him out. The Culling's going to do literally nothing, just clear the minions, and now you got to run away as RA. You can't stay here.
Yeah, I mean, Chempong Chainsword picked up for Doinb. So not going for the mythic yet because he just wants as much stats as possible. And again, nearly getting one shot, even with his ultimate being used. Now, RA is still picking up things across the map, picking up these towers, but it's a 4k gold deficit, and they still don't have an answer to this Renekton.
Curious now to see what RA can do, but LNG, they're happy to let this one keep going. As he said, no mythic yet on Doinb, so he's only going to get that little bit stronger once he finally picks up that Sunfire or Frostfire, whichever one he decides to go for, or maybe he's Doinb and he goes for the Dark Technologies and goes for a Turbo Chem Tank. We don't know. We have to wait and see, but I highly doubt it. But I've seen crazier things in these days of LPL. But yeah, this is a big mid-game spike now for the Renekton, who I think there's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say misinformation, but definitely a misperception on the Renekton these days, where people feel like he's just like falls off after 2 items. With the new builds and the changes and everything that came out of it, he's actually not that bad late and really does end up kind of being a bit more of a threat. Still not a late game carry, but definitely a lot more than what he used to be.
I mean, I think the thing is, Renekton needs to be ahead of the curve, right? And he also, it depends on what the enemy team has. Like, RA don't have good answers to kill the Renekton, and he is also fed. And on top of that, like, you know, they even buffed his ult damage quite a few times. Like, if you can survive in the late game fights by being in the mix, his AoE damage is going to be insane, especially with like a tank mythic. So definitely can't be underestimated. RA trying to contest vision here, but not really able to do much. And it feels like the map has gotten so much smaller for RA. It's so difficult for them to push even into their own jungle, because I mean, I guess it isn't even their own jungle anymore.
Yeah, I mean, look at top side. It's 2 towers down in mid lane. They're actually down about 50 CS, so that's pretty hefty chunk. You do have a bit of a CS lead for the Trundle, but who gives a damn? It's Sejuani's job to be tanky and be a frontline. 47 seconds till the dragon does spawn. Leyan trying to see if he can gain some kind of vision control, but he's not got a buddy for the buddy system, so that's not really going to work out for you. You have a good ward here that will probably die just before the dragon is spawned, but you might look for a TP flank here with Strive, having that crown of the Shattered Queen and having himself a little bit of sustainability.
I don't think you can GP flank. I honestly, I'm struggling to see how RA can play out team fights from this point, because I think they kind of need picks, I guess. Like, I feel like if you get into a 5v5, you just get absolutely trounced. Like, you don't have the damage to cut through all this beef on the side of LNG. And you have Light is like on 2 items now. He's getting scary. The Yuumi's going to keep everyone healed up. I think you just give the dragon, obviously, but I'm struggling to see how they fight, because like you have poke tools, you have burst from iBoy. In a longer fight, you're not going to win, and you're already lacking damage. So RA, they need to try and play on other sides of the map. They're looking for Panda C here, but that's kind of been the story of the game. They've looked for Panda C multiple times, and sure, Cube has a CS advantage, but they still are yet to kill this Gwen.
Yeah, it is a Cloud Rift as well, so Gonna be easier to rotate around the map, getting that extra little bit of whoosh from yourself. But yeah, 2 dragons out for the side of LNG, 5,000 gold lead. Actually, just under it. Actually, just under a 5,000 gold lead as they crest up to the 20-minute mark. RA started very brightly in game 1. They definitely looked a lot more composed and control, but LNG took that as a slap to the face, and they have woken up. Far more composed, far better situation, and honestly just a far more comfortable position for themselves to be in. They feel like they know what they're doing and where they need to be, so right now it does feel like, it is going to be about RA trying to find opportunities, because if the game keeps going the way it's going, it just feels like LNG will just be able to beat them in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that kind of feels like the angle. So, you know, it's all about, I think, setting up pockets of vision. And maybe if Light overstays, bear in mind, he doesn't have cleanse, but, oh, they're looking.
They are looking, but they're going to force out the ultimate from the Zeri as well as the final chapter. There's going to be a TP coming in. That's going to be the Gwen. So Panda C now running down, trying to see if he can catch out someone. Strife goes down. That's Lumao's 3rd kill of the game. As we can see, Panda C just snipping through this fish right now. Leyan has to flash. Light picks up a kill. Doinb is going to be waiting for you at the other side, my friend. And that's a double kill coming in for Light. I don't like saying this, but this game is over.
This game's done, dude. I'm ready to call it. This game's done. And, you know, I criticized the Chemtech Putrefy Rush before. Like, iBoy just did no damage, right? He actually got out-traded by Light before, like Light on the Zeri is supposed to win the longer fights into, like, a Lucian Nami. Like, in the extended fight, like, the Zeri will have so much value. The fact you dashed in and try and burst her, like, watch this, okay? I mean, I know it's going to be an item discrepancy, but iBoy dashes in. And where's the damage? It's like, sure, you reduce the healing, but you have to damage them first for that to matter. And Light just doesn't even go below half.
Yeah, and Light, after soaking up everything, pops his ult. Luma pops his ult, and at the end of it, it's just like, cool. Light still had flash and barrier. There was nothing else really for you to do there. And I think, like, Leyan, yes, you're trying to dodge out from the ultimate, but you've kind of left yourself between no man's land. Doesn't really work out that way for him, and that's just going to be another kill going over the side of LNG. 10-1. 6,000 gold lead, 6,500 gold.
Only 6,000, you know, no biggie.
Yeah, only 6,000. 2 dragons, and honestly, just this draft from RA just isn't it. It just wasn't what they needed to do, and it just has it. At no point now are they going to have any kind of like real kind of strength in their composition.
Some Zeri disrespect, I feel. It feels like, you know, since the nerfs, some teams have thought it's not as high priority. Still does that, right? Like, the nerfs didn't change the W. It's lower damage in the team fights, obviously, and you don't have as much burst with your right click, but I still feel like if you get a Zeri to the right point, especially with a Yuumi attached, like, once this 3-item hits for Light, it's going to be devastation. And now Doinb, once again, I forgot to mute myself because I had to sneeze or unmute myself. But yeah, that's going to be a kill going over. That's Doinb dead, so Light trying to see if he can walk away from this one here, but Tarzan not really in a position to follow, as he's going to be the one to try and tank this one up. While this is happening, though, Panda C is just kind of taking towers in the bot side. The W is not going to land on Strife as he waits until the status is over. But you can see already, yes, you get the Doinb pick, but it is still not good enough from the side of RA, because LNG are just too strong right now. They're too powerful. Yeah, I mean, they get Doinb because they have 5 members. And honestly, that's what they need to do. That was the play. They have to try and find these picks, but one person just isn't enough. It'll relieve the pressure for a little bit, but LNG going to back away, and I don't think this has really alleviated things. It is going to be the Sunfire from Doinb. As we said before, scales a lot better with bonus HP now, which you get from your Dominus. At level 16, it's 550 bonus health, which is basically the equivalent of like a full item, so you're getting a lot of that value. But here, doesn't really get to see that value, just completely deleted quite quickly. And they have damage if 5 members are going to hit a target. But you can see instantly, as soon as Light comes in, they're like, okay, this is a little bit scary. Yeah, this is just kind of the game right now. Yes, you get yourself a kill. Good job to you. But now with a Sunfire Cape, Sunfire Cape finished up here for Doinb. I mean, no one solo can really kind of deal with him. Yes, Cube's got himself on the 3 items. Good for him. But it's just not going to be good enough, I feel like, right now. And a Void Staff finished up for the Gwen, so Panda C is very happy with his particular position. And 22 seconds till the Dragon Soul point does spawn. I don't see a world where RA is able to contest. They're kind of pinned back, and like you said, the map's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller for them. Not really a lot they can do about it. Yeah, and I mean, there's still a dragon away from Soul after they pick this one up, but like Cloud Soul of this team, they're already so, like, Light's so fast. Doinb being able to get into combat sooner. Panda C as well. It'll be so difficult. I mean, that is what I'm talking about, by the way. Cube lands a Shock Blast onto Light, and Zeri, Yuumi instantly heals it up. The poke is not going to be relevant. Yeah, that's the squishiest member on who you can hit. Obviously, you're not going to be able to hit the Yuumi when she's inside. But you just hit the squishiest member with a shock blast, and it instantly got healed up by the Yuumi. So not really holding much weight in this one.
God, I hate Yuumi so much. I wish for a world where she's never meta and she's just always terrible. But we'll see now. Strive trying to steal away a Needlework. So there's Needles going both sides as they both throw the last one at the exact same time. Fantasy's actually winning that particular 1v1, but with the rest of RA coming back in, they will be able to pick him off. So you do get another kill. It's a little bit of gold. It's nice, but it's a hell of a cry away from actually being relevant. Oh. Here we go. Strife trying to run away, but Zora's been left as a fish to fry, and that's going to be Tarzan coming in. Cube. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I don't think he was actually quite hit by it by the end of it.
No,
so.
he has Edge of Night.
Oh, Edge of Night, of course. Edge of Night does end up blocking that one there. So that's ended up being a little bit of a trade back. So 1-for-1 for LNG versus RA. But yeah, look at the wave states. Look at the minions. You just have nothing to really do here.
Yeah, don't think there's much they can do as a response. They're doing a good job of finding these individual picks, but it's just not enough. iBoy is gone.
Yeah, well, he's gone, but he's not dead. He's,
yeah, he's not dead.
Hey, you are objectively correct. The best kind of correct. But we'll see now what they're able to kind of work with. Again, this is just going to be a slow and steady wins the race, you would imagine, here for LNG. Take the inhibitors, back yourself away. You don't really need to fight if you don't want to. Bubble will land on the Doinb, but a TP coming in for Panda C as he maybe wants to try and end this game. They're just doing it as maybe a deterrent as a W does land. And here we go, the final chapter. Will it be the final chapter for RA? Flashes are being burned. They're losing tools. They're losing summoners. They're losing things that could maybe use to get back into this game. And you can see Strive. He wants something, but that was one prowling projectile, and Strive's down to about half HP.
Did you see the damage on Zora though? The ultra shock laser. Yeah, I've seen so much. Like, I know Zeri's banned a lot, so we don't see it like all the time. But I've seen so much Zeri, and still every time that W hits, I'm just like, what is that damage? I know it does insane damage, right? I've cast this champion. I've even played this champion in a broken state, and yet I'm still just caught off guard. I'm still shocked. It's still like, what is going on? How is that legal? And you know the answer is it probably isn't.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, disgusting to have something on such a low resource to have so much damage, and now it's a 4-item Zeri as well. So this is not getting easier. I will say that you will have some pretty decent bursts with iBoy. Yes, the Lucian is all about that first item power spike, but does scale into the game. And we are at 27 minutes where, you know what, Aux? I think Zora's going to prove you wrong. I think Zora might just survive to get his Imperial Mandate.
Wow. I'm
just
so impressed.
About.
I'm so impressed. This
Hey,
is what I mean. Like,
it's about
27 and a
wrong.
half minutes of the game and still hasn't completed that Imperial Mandate, which is like the whole reason that Lucian Nami is so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like they just didn't read the book on why this particular champion works, but or
didn't read the mandate.
I guess. There you go. We gotta find something to talk about. Oh man. But LNG, they know they have total control. They can take the Baron here. And yeah, RA. Trying to see, they gotta force this. They gotta run in now. Run. Keep going. Don't worry about the minions. Don't worry about the wards. You just gotta go. You gotta make this one happen. You gotta see if you can steal it. You can't do it. Now you gotta run.
Light got actually.
Yeah, Light actually ended up stealing it with, or taking it himself because he's a 4-item AD carry.
Yeah, but I mean, it just shows that like there was a potential for a steal if someone had just hit some damage over. Obviously, Leyan had no flash and no way he got in. But yeah, once again, more in favor of LNG. We have Cloud Soul in a minute. I still struggle. Like, look at what that shock blast just did. Yep. Like,
nothing.
It was a tickle, and Tarzan has Warmogs. Oh, Doinb might be caught again, or
Randuin just gets popped by Leyan, but it's Doinb, and again, this is why this build has kind of come back into the forefront of why the Renekton we're seeing him so much or so much more. As I say that, though, he's going to be forced to flash away because he's a little bit too far extended. But that being said, Strive not really in position to help his team. Leyan will go down because he has no flash to speak of. That was just the formality. The game shall end right now. Cube gets exhausted, so even though you have a very fed Jayce, he is going to be basically null and void. And yep, LNG are taking us to a game 3, Aux.
Yep. We'll see. Trying to chase down some kills. Looks like iBoy. Yeah, you won't get out of this one. Oh, and I don't think Imperial Mandate has been. It hasn't. I was trying to. No Imperial Mandate. 30-minute game. It's gonna end here. They need to make sure it doesn't recall. If he recalls and buys, I'm gonna be very annoyed.
Do it. Rico, does he get in and buy it? Does he get in and buy it? No!
Let's
go! LNG take up the game, and we are tied up at 1-1. So this is going to be a longer series than you imagine, and LNG looking much more comfortable in game number 2 than they did in any stage of game number 1.
Man, a lot of things that I feel like you can criticize in that one. Did not like the draft from RA. I don't think it really worked. They didn't come ahead in lane. Cube got an advantage, but it wasn't enough. The Jayce poke was useless into the enemy composition. Lucian Nami didn't find a lead, and then the Nami went Chemtech Putrefier first and never even had Imperial Mandate. So there's a myriad of things. It's like, you know what I compare it to? Because we've seen, like, supports will take, the free boots, the magical footwear, because they won't want to spend money on boots. They will take Treasure Hunter to get the extra gold towards Imperial Mandate. That's how, like, important it is. It's like, Ardent meta we had back in the day when you used to just rush Ardent. It's like someone just building a whole other item and being like, nah, I'll get Ardent later. And as an AD carry, I would just be like, bro, like, come on. Sorry, I'm going on in this, but it's kind of annoyed me a little bit. But I don't think it would have changed the game. I think they were doomed regardless. But yeah, RA, after a strong game 1 performance, just completely flounder in this one.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that we can categorically say that despite how much they nerf Zeri, she's still busted. Still disgustingly so, especially when you combo her up with something like the Yuumi where she can survive that laning phase. And that's the big combination that we always kind of see from these two guys, is that the Yuumi just almost like what the Thresh used to do for something like an Aphelios or a Jinx, where it just shores up all those early game weaknesses that you're just not a problem. And yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage.
This is the thing with Lucian Nami, is like, you have a lot of burst, but you're like, once your burst has run out, if you don't like kill the target or like really chunk them, like sustain is such a problem. Like iBoy and Zura never really got light low, and so all their damage would just get, like, in the extended fight, like, you lose. Like, you have to be able to burst out Zeri, and if you can't because you don't have the damage, you will just get outvalued, especially with the Yuumi in unison. And then when it came to fights, they were just never cutting through all that beef. There was too many tanks on the side of LNG, and like the short range of like Lucian as well. Like, if you're ever in range to auto attack any of the front line of LNG, then you're in a danger zone. So well, I don't feel like there's much more to say about this game, Machine.
GG, go next.
Yeah, I fully agree with that one. And you know what? I think we all learned a lesson here.
Yep.
Nobody likes playing into Zeri. Nobody likes playing into Yuumi.
Yeah, I completely agree. And on that bombshell, we're going to go on a quick break. When we return, we'll have picks and bans for